What's going on, everyone? Back at you again with another VimWiki video. So I've actually started taking VimWiki more seriously than just casual usage. I restructured my entire setup. I made the links more robust. I started using the cool diary feature of VimWiki, and I have more things set up, and I actually am creating a real wiki for some of my statistics research. So currently my VimWiki directory looks like this. So you come in and I have all these folders in here. I talked about in a previous video about how you could manually set and create new folders, but I don't remember if I talked about how the links would work if you just made a new link in that folder. I think that they just start off as relative within the current directory type links, and that it would still work anyways. But I made this a little bit more robust, especially with there's something edit anyways. I found a really great cheat sheet that shows me several things. You'll list and select, so WS. VimWiki by default has some key bindings it will let you use, so I can do leader WS, and it'll actually let me select from my wikis. Currently I'm on the home, but I have all these other wikis listed out. Now, where you get these from is your VimRC when you set your setting for your VimWiki, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. But I decided to separate everything out into larger categories, also to clean up the directory, because I just had everything. Sure, I had separate categories and stuff in my index, but all the files were in a single directory. So one thing that I noticed that was also an issue was file overwriting. So let's say I have notes and research for our two different programming languages, and in my case it was Rust and Python, and I had a note for each language called data types or data structures. And anytime I wrote a new one for that language, well, that name's already taken. So it would actually either go to the same file, or when I moved everything, it actually overwrote some of the files. Luckily, I had backup notes because I just moved all this stuff from Joplin, so I just copy and pasted a new copy. But how I got around this is I created subfolders and basically sub-wikis of each of those languages and domain areas, because that way the notes are only linked in that they're linked relatively within that directory. So in the Python directory, I can have data types, data structures, and it works just fine. I can have my Rust directory, which is another subwiki, and have data structures and data types, and it works just fine. Now, I set all this up and I cleaned and moved everything today, and it took a couple hours, even with good commands. Like if I was going to change a bunch of links that had a same common word, I actually did use set a couple times. But even then, it still just took a while to maneuver things and figure out how I wanted stuff set up and structured. So I have all of these main areas. This is my normal index wiki, my home wiki. Now in here, I actually don't have anything. I just have my index file because I just wanted this clean, and I wanted to be able to see what areas I had other stuff in. Now in each of these other areas, I can have different folders. And all this stuff is represented on these index files, because each of these directories has its own index file, because each of them are their own wiki. So within tech, I have all my different programming languages, markup, and other languages. And then I have a growing thing for applications. VimWiki is one of them, because I found these great note documents or documents about VimWiki. Because I've also seen that some people say that there's not really a lot of research or good documentation or comprehensive documentation on VimWiki. And it's hard to find some good stuff. And I found some really great things, which is what really spurred me on to really dive into this a little bit more. I am using the Markdown syntax, not the native VimWiki syntax, and I think that affects me being able to convert things to HTML. I'm not sure, but anyways, I found through this cheat sheet that I found. It's thedarndestthing.com/VimWiki cheat sheet. This cheat sheet is really useful, mostly for these ones up here, the wiki and diary management. Now, if I do leader ww, it'll take me to my home index file, which is the top level of my entire wiki setup. Really useful. I had made a custom command that would just do the same thing, or it would just like, I think it runs like the command VimWiki home or something, and that would actually work, and it would take me back here. But oh, it already exists as a leader command. So ww, there I am. Now, one thing I like is this new diary feature in VimWiki, which is really cool, that I saw, I think, on a YouTube account that hasn't been active in like 4 years, Colby Cheese or something. Anyways, if I do leader w leader I, it'll take, oh, sorry, that's the index, leader w. It'll take me to my current current day's post in the diary file. And how do I see? I'm still learning this. Leader wi's index, open current, leader ww. WT. That's that one. Okay. Leader WT will take me to, oh, it's another tab. No, I'm still figuring out the keys. But in any case, I can just backspace from here and go back up to the index for the diary file. But what I really like about this is that I can do leader wi, and it will actually build this index every day. So it'll already just create this for me chronologically ordered. There's a plugin called calendar.vim that will open up like a sort of like a nerd tree type interface like this, but it'll actually be a calendar, and you can select that and it'll take you to your diary entry for that day. So that's really cool. I don't think I have it set up. I didn't have it set up for some reason. I think I had a conflict or something. But in any case, I don't really care for that. The indexing works just fine for me, and then I could always just grep the titles or something, or the dates, because you can see the link in here. Like, it actually has the title, but there's also a date. So if I really cared, I could just grep it and then see the line, or whatever. Not everything has to be graphical. But every time I create a new entry, like if today was, the next day, it's not, currently it's set to the 5th, so anything I enter today is on there. But if it was the 6th, tomorrow, I could do leader ww, and it would actually open up a brand new file that would save to be the next day's entry, which would be 4/6. And in that case, like if I do leader ww, it just takes me to, leader w takes me to today's. And the first line is actually the name that the relative link will be given. And everything else after that is completely up to you. So some cool things I was doing with this, I'm not really keeping anything personal in the VimWiki diary stuff, just because I think writing a personal diary electronically or even physically, I've seen enough television shows to know that never really ends well. But I have like my dev log in here, so anytime I do any sort of development stuff, I want it highlighted in here, and this is just what I'm keeping in here. I have some basic like bolding and stuff, and I found out that I really wanted to do timestamps. Like, what if I update my entry throughout the day, and I want to see just want to be like super granular about my detail, and I want to see all of the details, like the timestamp from my current entry. I didn't want to have to type this out. I wanted it to just be a snapshot, single command, add it, and then I'm already ready to start typing, the Vim way. Well, I found out that there's a really cool, well, not really, it's not really a really cool command. It's just, hey, you run a shell command, and it's just the date shell command. Like if I ran date, there it is. So that's it. It's really just running this command from within Vim using the shell command. So I mapped that to leader and then type out now. So it also will it'll also bold it and then also start me off in insert mode on the next like 2 lines down. So I have a nice break. So if I do leader now, it'll do that for me. So I like that. Delete that. So yeah, I'm just messing with this, and I really like this diary feature. So I also have been messing with. I'm studying a lot of statistics right now, and just got really back into it. So I'm trying to refresh myself from like my Lean Six Sigma green belt, from my my college class, and just some of the materials I have. I'm just trying to review everything, catch back up, and remember everything. Because like if you don't use that stuff often, it just kind of just slips away. It's a little bit familiar still, but I'm trying to catch back up. But I'm actually using the statistics subwiki as like my real like deep dive project into wiki creation. Like if I go to mean, actually this probably isn't a good one, but I have some like LaTeX math formulas in here that I've been making, so that way I can see like the formulas if I ever wanted to really look at them. But I also have templates, so I have like explain, documentation, and code. Because I program primarily in R, I want to have the R code to do these pieces of analysis. Excuse me. I have the explanation about like whatever I want to know about it, along with a LaTeX formula if one exists for it. And then documentation is just like resources that I find that help the subject make sense to me, which is something about this formula function thing. And then code is just how it would work in R. So a really good one I think would probably be p-value. This is one I just finished editing last night. So I have like links to like these other different things, one-sided, two-sided p-values. I can go to that link. Why is it not working? I guess that's still an error from the move. But in any case, null hypothesis, I can go there. It'll take me to here. And then I can go back to p-value or back to null hypothesis. And I just have all these different links in here, and also just explanations of all of this stuff from the resources I've been researching. And what I really like about it is that I can easily just go back to and forth between different values. And and I can easily just move around and find things. Like if I have a question, I'm like brushing up on variance, then I'm like, okay, so I need to figure out how the data is spread around the population mean. How do I calculate the mean? I mean, bear with me. How do I calculate the mean? Go there. Okay, that's how I do it. Go back. And then I can go and see the variance. Okay, but then if I take the square root of the variance, I get the standard deviation. What is that again? Go there, find that out, and then, range is a keyword. What is range again? Go there, and just making it more wiki-like. I can go just follow these links down a rabbit hole. I can go back and forth, and I can review as I go and find things that make sense to me and review the resources that I need as I go about it. And so I found this is a very great way for me to like keep up on understanding this stuff. And it's also just really fun for me to build. But the process of doing something like this and taking notes like this is also like reinforcing that knowledge. So hopefully it sticks around. But like an example of what this formula would look like, it doesn't really render in Markdown at all, like obviously. But if I took this and I went to, I have just a LaTeX document open, and I can just paste this in. I have my live preview going. So you can see like sample variance. Oh my gosh, where'd it go? There it is. So like sample variance, that's what it would be. And then if you wanted to do like the square root of that, there you go. And that would be the standard deviation actually. So that's kind of how I've been treating the VimWiki. Now, how to actually get this like subwiki setup that I have, like with all these different folders, and then each one with their index and everything working correctly, because like on statistics, on their index, like each of these links, you can see that in here it's a relative link. It's not linked to all these nested subfolders. It's just basically the directory that this index file is in, and it will open up those other files. So each directory is its own encapsulated environment, except for my main wiki file, which has the links to the other indexes, which has all these folder references. So that is something I did have to manually type out. But you just do that to the main index files once, and you're good, because once you get to that index file, everything in that directory is relative. So how do we create all these different directories? So all I needed was, of course, the VimWiki plugin, which is that VimWiki. I have a whole section for VimWiki stuff. So here's how it is. So normally you just have like one line here, and you have like the path VimWiki syntax markdown extension MD. You just create multiple items of this using the / thing. I think this is for like a a list dictionary type data structure in VimScript. I haven't looked too much into VimScript, but I think this is that's what you call this. So inside of this array is a bunch of dictionary objects, and you just have the same stuff. I just copied everything and just changed like the path. So then each of these paths becomes its own wiki. So when I go to here, not leader WT, is it leader WS? Yes, WS. I get wiki select, wiki search. I don't know what it's going to stand for. But then it will actually list it out here, and it'll take you to the index file for that one. So let's go to Python. Tech Python. I shouldn't need to make a new one. Weird. Tech Python index. I mean, it's here, so it's weird. Let's see what it does. 14. Tech Python. Yes. Strange. Oh. In any case, you could select yours that way, and I guess just pop through your wikis. I just keep my top level index file linked to all the other indexes of all the other wikis. So I mean, I never really, that's why I don't even know the hotkey, the leader WS, is because I never use it. So I don't really use this way. I just like my leader WW, take me to my top level wiki, and then I have my indexes right here, and I can go through them as I please. Go there, and there's all my stuff. That's how I like to have my stuff structured anyways. And this is just, you can ignore this. This is just a giant mess right now because I'm just going through the various resources I have collected on my statistics research. And then each of these non-linked items is just something I need to fill in later. I just don't want to forget about it because it popped into my head. And then eventually when I get a bunch of stuff here, I'll have it like all sorted and, you know, separated out, and it'll make more sense. But for now, this is just what I have. So yeah, that is how I have my VimWiki set up. Now I do have some templates set up for my specific VimWiki stuff. I have a diary template for like my dev log. I just do leader diary and it does that, and then leader now does that date stamp thing. So let's look at that. Leader W. Okay. So if I was going to be in a brand new open diary file, I would type in the name. Well, actually, I wouldn't even do that because I would have. Actually, I need to create this new file because otherwise I'll overwrite my existing one. So let's just say I have a brand new diary file. So it's the next day. It's a blank file. I need to give it a header. So in the listed index, it has a nice name, and I just want to start, hit the ground running. So I can just do leader and then type the word diary. At least this is for like my mapped hotkey and template diary. And so I have my placeholder. So I can just go like this, and here's my title. I can type out a quote for the day, and then my devlog. I'm ready to start typing. I can just do leader now. There we go. And I can start typing for the day. And there's my entries. So that's how I have that set up, is just a basic template for these diary files. Let me, do not want that file. And then I also have one for like the statistics stuff. If I went to a new one, I would actually, let's just do median. And then I have one I just do leader note. So leader note, and it would set up all that stuff for me. So this way I'm ready to go type out my explanation. I can link to my resources. If I have a link, I can just do leader L, and it would set up a link for me. And I'm ready to keep going. And then finally I have like code. So when I get my get the R code ready, I can just start typing the R code. Yeah, and then there's my timestamp. And then I did find something, this is unrelated to VimWiki. I did find something cool with R code recently. So if I was going to do, let's go to R, and then, actually no, I can just do it this way. So say I have an R file open, and I have ggplot2 diamonds price. So let's just say I have this little snippet of code. What this would do is just print out the tibble column of the price for the diamonds dataset in ggplot2. Now I have a hotkey. I haven't really gotten too familiar with this yet, but in R files, if I do leader T, leader T. Or maybe it's not working at the moment. Oh, because it's set for RMD. My bad. I was messing with this earlier. Oh, which just isn't like my regular expression stuff. X. There, that should work. In which case, I will save and quit, go back in. We should be good now. So leader T. It is not liking this right now. Huh. Well, what I have set up, and I'm not sure why it's not working at this moment, is a split that opens up a terminal, and I have a new plugin. So it would open up a V. And this thing is going crazy. It would open up a V split, and then in here it would open up a terminal. It would go R, and it would be ready for me to type different R code. So the plugin I have is right. Where is it? For R analysis. Here, right here. Send to window. So this uses space HJKL for relative movement, but with this I can send code from one window to another. So in this case I can just do space and then L, and it would send it. Oh, select it all. There we go. And then it prints it out. So it seems like I'm obviously still learning this setup and getting familiar with it. But it would be really cool to do like an interactive mode of development with R. And at least for this console anyways, I could go and library color out. And then this would make it more pretty. So there we go, and it would actually print out other things. So if I just did diamonds, Control L. Oh, there it was. It would actually print out some like prettier type of output for diamonds. So in this case, you can actually do like analysis in Vim. Now, I know I've heard some other people recommend to me NVimR and other stuff. It's just, if I'm going to do real R development, I actually do prefer RStudio. One thing I really don't like about my current setup, I've tried turning off some plugins and just using the Vim Pandoc one, especially for Vim Pandoc R Markdown. Inside the code fences, it still just does not do proper syntax highlighting for me, and it's just annoying. And ultimately, I just like the RStudio interface. I'm so used to it now, and I've done my own package development in it. It's just something that I'm used to. I mean, I know the shortcuts. I have Vim mode turned on in RStudio. It's fine. Not everything has to be optimized. But if I'm doing pretty much any other type of programming or text processing other than R stuff, I'm usually in Vim. And I don't really use VS Code for too much. Maybe my website, but even then, I kind of just edit my website now with this. So one thing that's also really cool about this, if you were going to do this with just this plugin, you could also just do plot and it will actually output plots to your image viewer. I'm not sure if this is just SXIV, which is what I have, but it's going to take a while to calculate all that stuff because it's got a lot of variables. I think 53 variables. So it will take a hot minute to plot, but it will actually do plots and have the images pop up next to your window. So this is actually a really cool thing too. I was doing some correlation matrix plots, or whatever the thing is where it has multiple boxes, and actually I can just show you. Currently it's upset. There we go. So if I go to VR ray test RMD, so currently all I need to do for this thing I want to show is right here. It'll output a plot, pretty perfect, in your image viewer. So that's a really cool thing you can do in Vim too. I'm learning all kinds of stuff about Vim this week, and in general. You can never stop learning about Vim. So that's how I do my VimWiki, some R stuff, terminals, a terminal emulator open in R. Yeah, it's a terminal within Vim, so that's cool. But yeah, so that's all I have for you. VimWiki, really starting to get into that and make it work for me, especially with like the statistics stuff. I can see like when I start new classes and get into new subjects and materials, I'm probably going to make sub-wikis under the academia folder and just keep like all my classes listed out here and just keep wikis of that stuff. Great for studying. And if I want to do flashcards, I have, well, I mean, it's empty right now because I don't really use it at this moment, but it's not as great as Anki or Anki, however you pronounce it, where it does like spaced repetition, and then it will pick the things you fail at or have less familiarity with, and it will replay those more often. This one is really just a random like shuffle of flashcards that you can set in a plain text CSV file. That I kind of stole this from a video of somebody and then modified it a little bit. But this one is actually on my GitHub if you wanted it. But it uses a little bit of shell. This is just some like testing stuff to make sure the directory and stuff sets up. But really, this is it: is that you find a flashcard deck from the .file directory, and yeah, it just shuffles through your answers, and it'll tell you the answer, and you can just do some flashcards in your terminal as well. So all kinds of stuff for studying, and that's on my GitHub too if you wanted it. But this video is already a little bit too long. In any case, VimWiki, it's awesome. I'm going to use it a lot more, and here's another video about it. Peace.